football. It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so this is a bit of a two-parter. You know, it's better late than never, but you guys know that this True School Sports, we cover boxing, the worldwide of boxing, and we don't, you know, I like views, but it's not necessarily all for views. We give fighters shine where they deserve it. We give credit where credit is due, and this is going to be a two-parter from last week's card. You know, first and foremost, we'll start with Marquis Taylor, because Marquis Taylor, he scored a brilliant upset victory over the previously unbeaten and heralded Cuban power punching prospect Yoelvis Gomez. Now, Yoelvis Gomez was making a lot of noise in boxing. He was originally trained with Ismael Salas. He was he stopped Clay Collard when Clay Collard's name was hot in boxing 3 years ago. Now he's with Joe Goosen, right? And Marquis Taylor, he came into this fight as pretty much a relative unknown through most of boxing. Most people only knew Marquis Taylor if they're boxing nerds like myself. You know what I'm saying? If you're a boxing nerd like me and you watch show boxing, you watch those obscure Thursday night and Friday night cards that, you know, tends to slip through the cracks, you don't really know much about Marquis Taylor. But Marquis Taylor was one of these fighters who's, you know, coming to you from Houston, Texas. Tall, long, rangy, not a big puncher at all. I mean, not at all. Not a big puncher at all, but very crafty, good boxer, tough, you know, just has his toughness about him. So it was going to be a hard fight for Yoelvis Gomez coming in, because I don't think he fought anybody with Marquis Taylor's kind of attributes. And through the grace of God, Marquis Taylor went in there and he upset the apple cart and beat the odds. He took the O of Yoelvis Gomez. Yoelvis Gomez got sent back to the drawing board, and people are wondering what's going on with Yoelvis Gomez. Yoelvis Gomez, and we're going to break this word out because it's an appropriate word to use in this fight. Yoelvis Gomez got exposed by Marquis Taylor, and Marquis Taylor scored the biggest victory of his career. Because and it's beautiful, right? Because I think Marquis Taylor was robbed and screwed royally in a fight he had with another prospect named Paul Crow. He fought Paul Crow, who was a prospect getting some hype, a little bit of hype in the boxing from Philadelphia. I thought he beat Paul Crow and unjustly got a draw. So I was glad to see him in a fight where he really was against all odds. He moved up from 54 up to 160. Not even a big puncher at 154. Moving up in weight to fight the harder punching, aggressive Cuban southpaw, and he scored a huge win. So great win for Marquis Taylor. He was very gracious in his victory, and he's looking for the biggest, baddest, and best names out there. You know, after the fight, he called out Tim Tszyu. You know, we know Tim Tszyu isn't going to get the Charlo fight, right? And you know, we don't know what's up with Tim Tszyu as far as his next fight. But Marquis Taylor is waving the flag and throwing his name into the mix, because he's saying he'll fight Tim Tszyu at 160, stating the following, and I quote, "If Tim Tszyu wants to stay busy fight, I'll fight him, because he's not going to fight Jamil Charlo because of Canelo. I would like to fight him or anyone on the top 5 or top 10 at 160. It's time for me to fight the best." And there you have it, Marquis Taylor, not the hardest punching fighter in the world, not the fastest fighter in the world, but a guy that I think has a very sharp mind when it comes to boxing. A fighter that I really feel has a difficult style to deal with, and he'll be a tough out for anybody. So I personally would like to see Marquis Taylor mix it up with the likes of Tim Tszyu, with the likes of Brian Mendoza, Erickson Lubin, Brian Castano, you know, those kind of guys. Ian Green at 160. There's a lot of fighters from 154 to 160 that I would like to see Marquis Taylor get a shot at. And, you know, good for him, man. One of the genuine good fighters in boxing that finally breaks through and gets a big win in his boxing career. So shout out to him on a real good win, and hopefully we see more good things from Marquis Taylor in the future. And I'll be keeping an eye out for what happens in his career as things progress. But switching gears, I wanted to go to another fight. In another fight, I wanted to talk about one of South Florida's very own, one of my favorite fighters coming to you live and direct from South Florida. and that's Broward County's very own, Fort Lauderdale's very own. Trained by Derek Santos, Eric Tudor. One of the great prospects, one of the really good young prospects, bright prospects in the Golden Boy stable. He had a fight against Reggie Harris, and it's the second time in Eric's career where he's fought a fighter that's come in, multiple pounds overweight. Harris, I believe, was like 4 or 5 pounds overweight this fight. Eric could have canceled the fight. Him and his trainer Derek Santos, they said no, make the fight happen anyway. Let's go through with it anyway. And it was a tough fight for Eric. Eric on paper was supposed to beat this guy because Reggie Harris had lost his last 3 fights, one of them by stoppage. Eric had shown some good things in that last fight against Domani Kato Kane, who was an undefeated, slick, switch-hitting boxer. So you wanted to see a dominant performance for Eric, but it wasn't as dominant as we would have liked. Harris was smothering Eric. Reggie Harris was getting in his chest. Reggie Harris got dropped, I believe it was in the 2nd round with Eric. And it wasn't until like the latter part of the 8-round fight where, Eric really started to use that range and box him, and fight more the fight you wanted to see him fight. So it was I would say it was the fight. As far as for Eric, it wasn't as dominant as you would have liked, and you could call it an underwhelming performance. But I think it was a needed fight in his career, another learning experience in his career, and he continues to win. And Eric's in a good position because I feel like, 54 is going to be a division in these next couple of years that's going to go through some changes. Jamel Charlo's at 168 fight, Canelo. I would fully expect those belts to fragment sooner rather than later. So by the time Eric gets to title contention, I think he'll be very well prepared to win a world title, But one question I do have about Eric, and it goes back to some things I saw in the Domani Kato Kane fight as well as this Reggie Harris fight is, some stamina issues. I feel like Reggie Harris was able to really push Eric to some good limits in the back half of the fight and the beginning of the fight as well. And I'm going to be very intrigued when they put Eric in there with a more skilled power punching fighter. I'm going to be very intrigued to see how his stamina holds up if the fight goes into the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th round, championship rounds with the more experienced power punching veteran type of fighter. So slightly underwhelming performance, Eric Tudor, but he gets the job done, and he runs his record up to 9-0 with 6 knockouts. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on Marquis Taylor, Eric Tudor, 2 guys that I thought, put on some good performances and some really enjoyable fights last week in our undercards, and I just want to give them a little shine here on True School Sports. So, leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe, and like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just kidding from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. We're here at the Hatanaka Boxing Gym in Nagoya, Japan. And for more great videos just like this one, make sure you guys click right here.